we've got our sun finishing its time in Cancer, moving into Leo. We've got our full moon at the beginning of next week, and we'll be leading up to that this week with the moon energy being at its most potent on Monday. My friend, let's dive into this week's Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of August 12th through the 18th. We've got lots to talk about, so let's dive in. If you are new here, hello, my friend, Danie C. Muniz, spiritual counselor and intuitive astrologer, bringing all the sidereal insights for you here on the Keeping It Real with Sidereal YouTube channel, as well as the Cosmic Mystic podcast. So if you did not know, we do have a podcast where this actually does air every single week. So if you just want to listen to this, you can go over to the Cosmic Mystic podcast. You can find it here on the YouTube channel and on all of your favorite podcasting programs. And if you are on the podcast and you want to see the charts, come on over to the YouTube channel, Keeping It Real with Sidereal, and you will get all of my funny faces plus all of the charts. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. All right, as you can see, we kick off our week here with our sun at 26 degrees Cancer. We are at the very end, as I said, of our time in Cancer. And as we look ahead to this week, we are going to see this conjunction here with Mercury. And our sun will be moving into Leo on Saturday. So let's go ahead and take a look at when that conjunction here with the sun and Mercury happens. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that is all about. So we see right here, as we move forward, they're getting closer and closer. So they technically will be conjunct right here starting on the 14th, which is Wednesday. And then we will see them getting closer and closer, where they will actually be fully conjunct right here on the 19th, which is Monday of next week, which is also on our full moon. So this Mercury retrograde is really going to be playing a significant influence on our full moon in Aquarius that takes place on Monday. So let's talk about this conjunction here with Mercury. So we see more focus here on thinking, communication, and short travel. We are looking at the consciousness here along with our thinking and processing, right? What Mercury rules. So there's a lot of adaptability energy here, a lot of curiosity, as well as wanting to interact. So there's this social energy that comes up here with whether that's your neighborhood, your siblings, your community, whether that's online or in person. But it tends to be more of a busier time for us because we're wanting to connect with people, we're wanting to meet new people. And so there's a lot of new plans happening here, new negotiations, new purchasing energy, which is really good energy, even though we are in a Mercury retrograde, for buying. So for my fellow entrepreneurs, this is a really good time to make an offer, to sell during this period here between the 16th through the 21st. I'm going to encourage you to use this energy to not only receive those downloads, but also then to make some offers. All right, coming in as well, and I want to go ahead and go back here to the beginning of the week because we do have one other thing that I want to talk about with the sun here before we move forward. So we have had the sun, let me pull this out here. We've had this right here over here to Jupiter and Mars. We've had that for a bit now. That actually is going to wrap up on Wednesday the 14th. So this is going to move out of that sextile energy. And we do have the Chiron here that we've had from last week, and we're going to see that coming through till the 21st. Now, with this new week, though, right here on the 13th, we see this square to Uranus. So let me tell you a little bit about this square to Uranus, because this is going to be influencing our consciousness, right? We talk about the sun, it's our consciousness, between the 13th through the 25th. Anytime we're talking about Uranus, there is a feeling of change. There's this uneasiness. There's this anticipation that something is coming, and it can feel a little uncertain, right? Which can bring up feelings of anxiousness, right? Because we can feel something is coming. We're not quite sure what it is. Now, Uranus always is very unpredictable, and his behavior can be very radical. So I say that because you might find there's this unexpected energy coming at you, or even you channeling this unexpected energy. Okay, so outbursts tend to happen a little bit more frequently here. There's this other side that you might be showing that is kind of outside of your norm. The ego is very, very strong here. And at this point, will we still be in Cancer? But through that, we are going to move into Leo, which is going to raise that even higher. And so it's like you're wanting to express. It's like the inside voice wants to be outside. That's what this can feel like. It's like that inside voice wants to be outside. So I want you, it's like you don't want to hold back. You don't want to keep it all in. And so I want you to be very, very aware of that, because sometimes the inside voice does need to stay the inside voice. Okay, I'm not telling you to limit yourself. I'm not telling you to block yourself, but as a conscious person, you realize that sometimes there are things that are triggered within you that you want to be aware of and just to notice, and like, I could say something here, but that might be ego driven. And so I want you to be very cautious of that and just be very aware that that could be coming up. And on the flip side of that, because I always like to look at it from the other perspective too, is that you could also be receiving that energy as well. It's as if people might want to say things that they're tired of limiting as well. So you might feel that coming at you. So I want you to just be aware of that, because that could be what could be provoking some people. That could feel some of this restless energy. You may even want to change up your appearance, cut the hair, do the bangs, color the hair, wear something different that you haven't worn before, really changing up that appearance. So I'm going to also let you know it's not the time to make the big decisions. Don't cut the bangs, my friend. Don't cut the bangs. Hold off on cutting the bangs for a minute. Let this energy pass through and see if you still want to cut the bangs. Now, I know I am itching to get my hair cut. I've been feeling it for a while, and I'm like, do I go now or do I wait? But I have been feeling it for a while, so this is before this energy is coming into play here. So I think I'll be safe, but I may just hold off just to let this ride the emotional wave and come and revisit it after. But this is also a really good opportunity for those new opportunities, those new possibilities that can come into your life, because it's wanting to change up those bad habits, those addictions, and really free us from restrictions that we have placed upon ourselves. All right, my friend. Let's move into our moon, and let's see where our moon is moving this week, because we are we're getting in position for a full moon in Aquarius on Monday, August 19th at around 1:26 p.m. Central. So we have a couple of things that are happening. So let me go ahead and go over to that, because I do want to point this out to you, because even though we're not quite there yet, and I will definitely talk about it in next week's forecast, but I do want to talk about it here because we're anticipating that energy. We're moving into that energy. So we have this conjunction here, right, as I mentioned earlier, with the sun, and we have it in the opposition here to the moon. So we've got, if we look at this here, we've got a square over here to Uranus, and we've also got this energy over here to Chiron. Now, the full moon is always an opposition of energies. So they're the opposite energy. So we have Leo and Aquarius. Leo from a broad perspective. Okay, so I'm taking this from a very broad perspective. Leo is about Leo, right? It's about more about self, and it's more about learning to lead and be seen and be heard and be understood. I've been saying this, and I'm going to continue to say this over the next 4 weeks when we enter Leo season. It's all about being seen, being heard, and being understood. On the flip side, Aquarius is all about community. It's about our friendships. It's about the social justice issues that are important to us. And it's about giving back and being, calling all the people, our people in. And so this is very much very similar to like the Aries and Libra energy. This is very similar to that in the sense of it's the me and the we. Okay, it's in a little bit different of a way, but we still get that energy of focusing on what I have to say, what's important for me, and then coming together in community with Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. You just heard me talk about Uranus and how it can be that excitedness energy, that unpredictable energy, and really help us break free. Aquarius really wants its freedom to do what it wants to do. And so what I'm really finding in this particular new moon with that square to Uranus and that sextile to Chiron is really releasing the limitations, the blocks, the chains, the self-imprisonment that we have put upon ourselves so that we can show up in our authenticity, in our true expression, in whatever way that is. It doesn't mean you need to be, flamboyant in any way. I talked to a girl earlier this week on a call, and her energy is so subtle. Like the way that she works with people, she's a healer, and the way that she works with people it's a very subtle energy. It's really beautiful. And instead of looking at that as she's not powerful or she's not strong, but using that subtleness that she has is actually being a really beautiful strength that she has, because it isn't so in your face and kind of on top of you. She's really able to help people in a really beautiful way, and that is her superpower. And so that is what we're wanting to awaken within ourselves. Whatever it is, we don't have to be like this person or that person. We are our own unique, beautiful selves. And because of that, like, we want to be able to express that in its pure uniqueness. So I tell you, my friend, this is a really beautiful full moon to release any of those things that may be blocking you, and also to celebrate. We don't do this enough with the full moon, but to celebrate how far you've come in being able to express yourself and show up as your most authentic self. Now, I do have a full moon somatic breathwork session happening on Saturday, August 17th, and it is online. It is virtual, so you can attend from anywhere in the world. You can come in your home, in the comfort of your home, and do this somatic breathwork session. So it is a circle, so we will be in sacred ceremony through this breathwork session with the focus on unleashing our own unique authenticity. So you can find the link down below in the description box and in the show notes for that. This is a complimentary. This is my gift to you for this summer season. The next one in September will be a paid circle. So I just want to let you know that if you want to come and experience some somatic breath work, come under that full moon energy and release. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our where the moon's going to be for the week, though. So this week we kick off with the moon. Let me move out of there. With the moon in Libra. So Libra is an air sign. And so we'll be in Libra energy just for that Monday. And so lots of ideas, lots of thoughts coming through, really seeking that balance and harmony here from that weekend. We're still kind of filling that in as we move into Monday. When we get into Tuesday, and as you can see here, Wednesday, and then right into like right at the very end, beginning of of Wednesday, the moon will be moving out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. So let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, and it is the depths, right? It wants to go deep, it wants to transform. And so this time there may be a lot of emotions. You may be wanting to cut people off or cut things off. You might find yourself getting fixated on something or like really diving into something. It could be really emotional for you. There could be some nice emotional releasing or something that's wanting to come up and be expressed, because we are in that Cancer water moon and that Cancer sun and that Scorpio water moon. That's a double water energy. So these couple of days here, you might find some emotional triggers being really brought forward for you, or just wanting to just be in that emotion, and that is okay. Notice that you can do that, and then you can move out of that as well, as we do when we get to Thursday, where the moon will be moving through Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a fire sign, so it's wanting to move that energy through and really go out, and it's a go big or go home type energy. It's also very optimistic. And so you might feel like you kind of went through the trenches, so to speak, and now you're coming out into the light. You're really ready to show up in a much bigger way. And so use those couple of days in Scorpio to like release and to let go and to prepare so that you can come out really big and beautiful on Thursday, Friday, and into very early Saturday. Now, Saturday afternoon into Sunday, our moon will have moved out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And you can see here, midday Saturday, we are going to come up against Pluto. So this could be a bit of a battle here with the energy, because the sun is in that Leo energy now. We're moving into that Leo energy. Our moon in Capricorn and Pluto wanting to kind of push things through. And so there could be some things that are coming up as we are venturing in to this full moon in Aquarius. So we might start to see some of those things start to show up on Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. All right, that's where our moon will be this week. So let's go back. There's other things I want to talk about as we move through this week. In particular, let's look at Mars really quick, because we do have a new connection coming in here with Mars. Now, we have seen this conjunction here, right? We've talked about this over the past few weeks with that conjunction with Jupiter. But we do have on the 16th here, which is towards the end of the week, with Chiron here, towards the end of the week, on the 15th, right here on Thursday, we're going to see this sextile over here with Mars come into play. We've already seen the other ones kind of playing around, kind of hanging out. But this one too, Chiron, is really giving us that motivation and that drive to move through the wounds. And so, you know, as I said here, with the moon and Pluto, with this full moon coming, there's a lot of this build up of energy, especially with Mars behind it. And Mars still is in Taurus, so it's really pushing that slow and steady progress, which for some of you is like, can we just get to the end already? But some of us, you know, us earth signs, water signs, we tend to take things a little bit slower. And so there's this like, okay, slow and steady wins the race kind of idea. But we can really use this energy to really push through, really motivate our actions, and even take some ambitious action as well. Now, our final thing I want to talk about here is we've got this here with Venus. So let's go to Venus right here. And we've got Venus in opposition to Saturn. Also going to be square Jupiter as well. And both of those come into play here this week. The Saturn comes in on the 14th, and the opposition with Saturn on the 14th, and on the 13th, we have the square over here to Jupiter. So let me tell you a little bit about those two, because they are going to be impacting us. We also do have the square over here to Mars as well. So all of this energy with the Mars is just increasing that more sexual energy, that sexual tension. There's a lot of really wanting to be like have this expression fully in relationships in particular. It can also be a little bit of a battle with your partner. With that kind of like sexual tension energy. So just be aware of that. With the square to Jupiter, we might take on too much here because there's a lot of confidence with Jupiter here, where it's very outgoing, very optimistic, very generous. So we could be overdoing it a bit. And so we want to be careful. Like there's a tendency here for excess, right? For overdoing it, whether that's overdoing it in work, overdoing it in a good habit, like, you know, going to the gym, or over like where you might hurt yourself, or even overdoing it in food, right? And or something that you like your addictions, right? There could be some tendency to kind of overdo it. And with money, you might be wanting to overspend. So just to notice that there is this tendency here beginning August 13th all the way through August 23rd. So about 10 days, we're going to see this kind of like excess energy coming. Now, the last one is that opposition over here to Saturn. This is the one that can be a little bit concerning, only in the fact that Saturn likes to show us our limitations. And so it can, again, I say this with Saturn, especially with an opposition or a square, we often feel like there's this like dark cloud that keeps following us everywhere we go. And so we have to be careful, because we can get down into those emotions, down into those limitations and those challenges, and only see the challenges. I was on a call earlier this week with a client, and she was wanting to move forward with this program that she was looking at joining. And her whole focus was on, I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. And as we worked through that, we opened her up to how are all the ways that the money can come to me, and opening her energy up so that the money can come to her in many different ways. Sometimes we focus so much on the lack or the limitation, instead of allowing ourselves to open up to the possibility, to the opportunities. And so I'm going to invite you to look at that, right? The questions that we ask ourselves are everything. And so if you're constantly saying, I can't do this, I'm not able to, I don't have this, open it up to, how can I do this? What are all the ways this can work out for me? It completely shifts your energy, and you're able then to see possibility and attract those ideas and those opportunities to you. So I'm really going to recommend this as we move through this particular transit with Venus and Saturn, which is from August 14th through the 23rd. All right, my friend, this wraps up your Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of August 12th through the 18th. Be sure to join us for that full moon somatic breathwork session all around authenticity under the full moon in Aquarius. And you can find all the events that we do, because I have tons of things that I do every single week over on thepeaceteacher.com/events. All right, my friend, have a beautiful rest of your day, and remember to keep shining your unique light.